This week, we got this close from all-out chaos. For the first time ever in history, a cave has been discovered on the moon. Jay Slater has officially and finally been found, but it's not good news. 6 people were mysteriously found, you know what, in a luxury hotel. And I am finally back from the Nato event alive, uncompromised, and uncloned. But I know, very, very late. So we better get cracking immediately. Oh man, I missed you guys so much, and I honestly have had just one of the craziest weeks of my life, and I'll tell you all about it at the end of the video, but we should probably get on to some actual news first, because this one that we're about to talk about, probably the craziest news of the year so far. As we all know by now, somehow a 20-year-old kid managed to shoot off a piece of Trump's ear from 150 yards away.
I want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
And I'll play them this animation just so they can understand how mind-blowingly close Trump was to being, and I guess pun intended, not pun intended. So this is the 3D animation that has actually mapped his head movement precisely to the real footage. And it shows that if Trump didn't turn his head at the last millisecond to look at the chart which he was going over, Trump would have been gone, and this would be a very, very different situation in the world right now. And honestly, as you can see, it was so close that at the point he pulled the trigger, it was probably a perfect shot. But in the time that it took from the bullet to travel there, it turned into not a perfect shot. And I think we all just need to take a second to appreciate, like, left, right, or don't even give a shit. We were exactly that close from weeks of chaos and probably riots in America, but maybe around the world. Probably none of us watching this have ever lived through an assassination of an American president. Trump said that the most incredible thing was that I happened to not only turn my head at the exact right time, but also in just the right amount. But somehow, what's even more baffling than how it didn't happen is how it did happen, all of this. And this is where things just start to make absolutely no sense. Like, maybe it's just because it's early in all of this, but just listen. And keep in mind that this is the first assassination attempt on a presidential candidate since Ronald Reagan in 1981. That's over 40 years since something like this has happened. So it's pretty damn big. You see, initially it was reported that the threat was known only minutes before shots were actually fired. But now sources say that law enforcement spotted Thomas Crooks, which is the name of the shooter, on a roof 26 minutes before he opened fire. They even managed to take pictures of him on 2 separate occasions because they thought he looked suspicious. So they already identified it. But it should be noted, just to bring things back down, he didn't have a gun on either time. So yes, he was categorized as suspicious, but not a threat. They say that Thomas got down off of the roof and they momentarily lost sight of him. So maybe they were thinking, okay, he was on the roof to look, to get better view of the rally. It's not that uncommon for, people to climb trees and try and just look at the stage. But when he returned, however, he had a rifle.
Yeah, look, there he is.
Because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals. We have criminals, we have drug dealers, we have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher than
That is not common. Police were alerted by the public at this point, and an officer even tried to climb up onto the roof, but as soon as he peered his head over, Thomas turned around, pointed the gun at him, and so the officer jumped down. So even at this point in this whole scenario, it doesn't really make any sense. Why would that cop not radio the entire security team, shoot her on the roof, shoot her on the roof? We need backup, we need to do something. And as a Secret Service agent, hearing shooter on the roof, knowing that your protectee is on stage, do you not immediately take action and get him off the stage at the bare minimum? Well, apparently not. And maybe that communication never even reached the Secret Service. So we're not even sure about the whole communication breakdown. Maybe that's the biggest failure of all of this. But here is where things just get uncomprehendable. The director of the Secret Service, the top of the top, was asked why weren't there snipers on that roof, because they had already internally recognized that it was a threat and flagged it as a risk. She replied to that saying the building in particular had a sloped roof at its highest point, and so, there is a safety factor that would be considered there, and we wouldn't want to put someone on a sloped roof. And so the decision was made to secure the building from the inside. So that means that there was a team inside the building when Thomas Crooks was climbing on its roof. He was literally climbing on top of them. And I'll be honest, I don't really understand the sloped roof excuse. Is it because there's nowhere to duck for cover if you take fire from someone on the ground? Because the other roof definitely had a slope and they had snipers on that. But because of its angle, if you got shot at from this side, you could take cover. But the other side, no cover. I don't get it. I just refuse to believe that it's a kind of like a slip and fall kind of safety factor. Please don't be that. Anyway, the craziness continues because although snipers on the other roof had a clear view of Thomas, they didn't take the shot until after Thomas opened fire. Why? Well, we don't know. No one in the public actually knows this yet. There were rumors floating around that one of the snipers came out after and said that the Secret Service ordered him to not shoot the suspect, but that turned out to be false. That claim originated from a poster on the online messaging board 4chan. That says enough for you, saying that his name was Jonathan Willis. A research was done by the Associated Press, and there was no officer by the name of John Willis working for the Secret Service or the Butler Police. And there were no internal records, or no internet records, in fact, of such an officer that could be located. And a spokesperson for the Secret Service said that the post was fake. So it's either the deepest, darkest conspiracy and they've wiped all internet records of this person existing, or it's just someone shitposting on 4chan. I think that one's probably more likely. But even if it is just shitposting, it doesn't really answer the question as to why they didn't take the shot. Imagine if Trump didn't move his head, and then we're talking about why they didn't take the shot. There's a former president's life now as a result of you not taking the shot. Done. And even if it was something they couldn't confirm he was a reasonable enough danger to, take lethal action, if they could clearly see him, he's lying on the roof with a gun, would you not do the bare minimum of just being take Trump off stage? Just for perspective, the guy was able to get so close to Trump that it was actually the same distance that the US Army recruits must hit a human-sized silhouette to qualify in basic training. And the questions don't stop there, because if we start to look at Thomas Crooks and who he is, it's arguably even more confusing. Because the FBI have broken into Thomas's phone, they've searched his computer, they've scoured his search history, they've looked all through his bedroom, his house, and they've interviewed over 100 people that know him, including his family and his friends. And they still, despite all of that, haven't come up with any evidence to suggest a concrete motive for doing what he did. And the information that they do have is either just plain confusing or contradictory. He was registered as a Republican, but donated to the Democrats. People who knew him say he was relentlessly bullied at school, but then others say that he was well liked by his teachers and people thought that he was a nice guy. And in the time that I've been covering news, usually when something as insane as this happens, it's a school what, or a mass what, usually these people are investigated by the FBI afterwards, and it is very immediately clear that they are extremists or radicalized in some way. And that's made clear pretty quickly after. Because just remember the state of mind that someone has to be in to carry out something like this, knowing that, most likely that's their last day of living. But when the FBI started looking into Thomas Crooks, as of right now, everything is kind of normal. All of his search history was about coding and gaming, and all of the people that they interviewed that knew him said that they were shocked by this. It was very out of character, including his parents, which were both behavioral therapists. And on top of that, as if I don't even need to be adding things on top of that, but the FBI haven't found any indication of him researching how to make homemade explosives. So it's currently kind of unclear how Thomas knew how to assemble the explosive devices that were found in his car. Anyway, a massive investigation is being carried out to answer so many of these questions that we still have. So of course, I'll keep you guys updated. But let's move on, because as one mystery starts, another one has just ended. Jay Slater, the British teenager that went missing in Tenerife over 28 days ago, has officially and finally been found. So news initially broke that police found a body near where Jay Slater's phone last pinged, but they refused to officially confirm if this body was his or someone else's. And people started commenting on all my videos saying why can't they just, look at his face and say, yep, that's Jay Slater? And I don't really want to answer this, and I don't really want to be gruesome, but he's been out in the hot Tenerife sun for about a month in the wild with animals, and they believe that his death was due to a very, fall. So, it's not as simple as just looking at him and saying, that's him. They eventually were able to identify him through his fingerprints. Then, after that, questions started circulating about how his body was missed, not only after 28 days of searching, but also because it was so close to where his phone last pinged. Well, those questions were kind of dampened after this footage was shown. Jay Slater's family said that they can now appreciate the remoteness of the area where his body was found, and that he would have most likely have been killed instantly. Along with the body, they discovered Jay's possessions and clothing, and authorities say that his death was caused by multiple traumas compatible with that of an accidental fall. And although it's definitely not the outcome that his family and friends would have been hoping for, at the very least, now they can have a tiny bit of peace knowing what happened. Because for a while there, I think we were all thinking we may never know what happened at this point. So, R.I.P. Jay Slater, and let's move on. Okay, for the first time in human history, a cave has just been discovered on the moon. And here's the craziest part about that. I'm not sure if you guys have heard much about this, but the current space race between all of the countries right now is not just get more people to the moon, but it's actually to set up a research base there and have a base for humans. But the problem with that is that you need to construct a structure to actually live in. Because in the daytime, and Alex put these temperatures up for Americans as well, it gets up to 127 degrees Celsius in the daytime, and at night it goes down to minus 173 degrees Celsius. So very hot and very cold. And you've got to protect yourself from radiation exposure, and a bit of SPF isn't going to cut it. But now, thanks to this discovery, instead of having to bring all of those heavy materials to the moon, let's be honest, that's a long way to bring them. Now, they can just live in the cave. I'm not joking. We're about to get cavemen again on the moon. The times we live in. The cave is not only accessible from the surface, but it offers a stable temperature environment, natural protection from cosmic radiation and solar radiation, and micrometeorites, which, believe it or not, is actually a major hazard on the lunar surface. And another really cool thing is that there is potential for finding water and ice within these caves, which you think, oh, ice on the moon, not that important. Very wrong. You can actually use ice for drinking, as a component for breathable air, and as a source of hydrogen and oxygen for fuel. So, a lot of what you can do for ice when you're a scientist, I guess. But anyway, moving on. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm just realizing that I'm not going to have time to cover the Bangkok story. Just research it, maybe yourself. No, you don't want to research it yourself. That's why I'm here. Maybe another day, but it's either that or the whole story about Nato, it's a juicy story. So let's go with Nato for the last story of the day. So this whole event was actually only 3 days long, and I know I've been away for like 8, 9 days, I don't even know. No, I was not cloned or taking any back rooms in that time. I actually arrived 2 days early so that I could, see Washington for one, and two, actually make some videos in the hotel, because I knew the actual days of the Nato event was going to be crazy. So the first day of the event was going to visit the White House. Now, to get into the White House, I guess I kind of expected it, but oh my lord, the security, insane. Multiple checkpoints, patting down, sniffer dogs, X-rays. Well, I don't know if they're technically classed as X-rays, but the little whoop, 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 whoop ones. We got a tour of the White House. We went into the actual press room, which Alex is showing you right now, me in there. And funnily enough, it's a lot smaller than you think it is. Like, this is a garage in here, and it's not that much bigger. Like News Daddy Empire, bigger than the White House. Okay, it's not bigger, but it's similar. Anyway, we rounded out the White House tour with speaking with John Kirby, who is the White House National Security and Communications Advisor. Anyway, Alex is showing you the footage, but it's this huge room with like all of us content creators, and all of the questions that everyone was like, throwing at him were like really serious. Like there was no lightheartedness about it. There was nothing fun about it. It was just very serious. And I guess you'd expect that, right? But I thought, I'm there for content. I'm not there to do anything else. And I don't think you guys would really be that interested in some of the questions that they asked. But then I thought of one question. It was a risky one because it wasn't serious. But I knew you guys would love it. So I did it for you guys. We've covered this story multiple times, but I asked him, and it was the last question of the day. I was like, what do you think of Mr. Putin and Kim Jong-un's new bromance? And is this bromance the most dangerous bromance to ever exist in history? And then when I asked that, no one laughed. And I was like, shit, like, how do you not laugh? And then when he started answering it, he started in a really serious way. And I was like, damn, like this, I can't be bothered for this. But then he broke. Woo! I broke him. Alex, play them a clip, but not his answer because I don't think they'll be interested in the answer. Just up until the point where he breaks. And potentially, is it the most dangerous bromance to exist in history?
Well, look, it's the fact that he's getting bromance. The fact that he's getting support. I don't think we would call it a bromance.
That was for you. Anyway, there was a couple other events throughout the day, but I declined them because I thought they weren't really great for content and I'd rather just make videos at home for, just news and stuff. The second day came and it was actually the big, massive, every world leader in the building day. Again, security insane. Massive army trucks there with machine guns blocking off roads, like a huge chunk of the city completely blocked off. And again, because it was so serious, there wasn't a lot of story behind the event. We went in and we saw them take this family photo. Obviously, Alex is showing you this all right now. This is what I'm showing you. There's nothing crazy about it so far. Oh, and then here's one part. I got the memo, right, of business casual. So business casual, I thought is just kind of like smart casual. But no, business casual is not smart casual. For them, it's blazer, shirt, suit, everything. And then casual part is maybe you don't wear a tie, you just unbutton the top thing. I turned up in leather pants, a vest with a short sleeve shirt over the top, a chain. And honestly, so many of the people there were giving me bombastic side eye. But I was really glad that I did dress like that because, I'm not there as a traditional journalist. I'm there as the News Daddy Empire. And that's what we turn up like, okay? I'm not ashamed at all. In fact, I'm proud. Anyway, second day ended, and then the third day came, and I was like, please just be some good content around this. And then it came. We went into the room, that massive boardroom where they actually all sit down and they discuss some wild stuff. And instead of me really explaining it, I'm going to play you the clip that I got from when I was there because this video, I'm not even exaggerating here, and I say this with the utmost humility, but I don't think a video like this has ever been recorded in history because the people that were in the room were either journalists, which were where with their massive cameras taking photos, or the content creators. And the other content creators weren't gonna make the video that I made. So, kind of exclusive, world exclusive footage that I've got you guys. Alex, play them the clip. It's wild to see how world leaders socialize. Turkey's just sat down there yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna sit here, eat my peanuts or whatever other snacks they're gonna give. Let's get this meeting started. While everyone else, as you can see, is kind of just mingling, chatting. Macron officially has arrived. He's kind of stood far away from the table, trying to do an alpha move right here. Don't say, let the table come to me. How about that? We also have Keir Starmer here. Hey, the new kid on the block. I mean, he's been in power for 10 minutes? And he's already at a huge Nato summit. I bet bro is out of his depth right now. Martin Keir Starmer, how you doing, big man? Justin Trudeau made sure to find the shortest person in the room just so he looks extra tall and powerful, and so he can look down. Ooh, here we go. We've got Macron joining the conversation with Justin Trudeau. Now, my man here on the right, apologies, I don't know who it is, but he's feeling a little bit left out now, it seems. Oh, fantastic joke. This bro here kind of looks a little bit left out. He's thinking, oh God, I do not know how to make small talk. I'm not a politician. I'm in the military here. This is not how I was trained. Pretty much every world leader is here at the minute. But the one that hasn't arrived yet is Biden. And maybe he's doing a little power play, come out last or something. Here he is, Mr. Stubb. I don't know if you guys remember the history of me and the president of Finland, Mr. Stubb, but he's now unfollowed me on TikTok, but now we are in the same room, so we've gone full circle. I bet you take your hand out your pocket and use that hand to re-follow me again on TikTok. Oh, sat down now. Is that your spot? Is that where Finland should be sat? Oh no, he just ate from that country's spot's food as well. He is really asserting his dominance right now. Not gonna lie, this hub over here is becoming like the central spot. This is like the cool kids table, it seems. Like everyone else kind of like 2s and 3s. And just more people keep on adding to this group. Oh, another person's jumped in. Oh, geez. It's really popping off now. Oh, yeah. Oh, top down. Brave. You don't want to get the top of people's heads. They're kind of insecure about that at this point. No, don't get the bold patch. Do not do it, buddy. It'll be... Oh, going back for more. Good Lord. We are about a solid 15, 20 minutes into this thing, and still no Biden. And it also turns out that wasn't Stubbs' seat, but Stubb really ate from someone else's seat, and he sat there too. That's South Korea. Oh man, Stubb, I'm sorry. You unfollowed me. I've got to do this to you. This is millions of people going to see that you ate from South Korea's snacks. Is it an alpha move or is it just simply a no-no? Oh, here we go. Biden has arrived. Bro really missed the small talk. All right, now everyone is taking their seats. Here's Biden taking his seat. Keir Starmer and Biden. Okay, so they just said that now that they're actually going to start what they're going to talk about, we're getting kicked out. I guess a discussion like this is going to be behind closed doors. I mean, that is kind of a wild thought. That many powerful people about to have that discussion in there, and no one apart from them in that room right there is going to know what they discussed. That's a wild thought. A lot of you guys said I'm probably never going to get an invite back there again, and roasting world leaders is crazy, but they didn't put any restrictions on what I was allowed to record, so I recorded it, and they haven't kind of, sent assassins to me yet, so I'm all good. Now, I probably shouldn't be saying stuff like that. That's wild. Not trying to give them a bad reputation, it's just a joke, okay? But after that, it was a wrap. But it doesn't end there. The craziness only continues. Because just as I was about to head home to the UK and come back and make some sweet, sweet content for you guys, I got invited to a festival in Romania. And they were like, come through. We're gonna treat you amazing. We're gonna fly you business class. Just, have a good time. Record yourself being there. And it was an offer that I couldn't refuse. And as soon as we got there, we got picked up, right? And we got driven to the hotel, which was 3 hours away. We got to the hotel at about 6 p.m. We had a shower and we had to go immediately to the festival. So at this point, I'm like off of a couple hours sleep on the plane. And I knew that once I went to that festival, I was gonna be awake until like 3 a.m. in the morning. So I was just like smashing Red Bulls. We get to the festival and oh my Lord, I think I was out of my depth a little bit. I don't think I was ready because they took us to like all of the most VIP areas. They're right in front of stage. Thousands of people trying to be like, yo, what up? Staring at me and like the music is playing, the lights are flashing, like the senses were overwhelmed. It felt like a movie. I mean, I know that's a cliche, cringy thing to say, but that's what it felt like. And like we were treated like VIPs. Like they put us to the front of every queue. I didn't have to queue for the toilet at a festival. Like, do we understand how crazy that is? And then at like 3 a.m., I was like, okay, we gotta call it. We have to wake up at 8 a.m. because we gotta go back to the airport that morning to fly back. So like 3 a.m., we'll call it. I get in the car and Alex calls me and he's like, you will never believe it, but Trump has just been... And I was like, there is no way. This cannot be happening right now. So immediately in the car, as I was driving back to the hotel, I made a video at like 3 something in the morning. And then I got back to the hotel and I was like, there's no way I can sleep right now. So I then made another follow-up video with more concrete research and all of that. And then I finally went to sleep at like 5:30 a.m., woke up again at 8 a.m., went back to the airport. And during all of this, keep in mind, I had to be making this video about the whole festival situation and it needed to go out that evening. And so I was like, I can't take this. So as we're driving, as we're doing everything in the airport, I can't sleep, which was my plan because I needed to edit this video. And so I was putting it all together and then I realized, well, I need to record like vocals for audio for this, but the airport is incredibly loud. The plane is incredibly loud. So my only option was to wait till I got back in the UK, get in my car in London Heathrow Airport, shut the door, and record the audio then. So everything had to be perfect for that point. Long story short, we get back home, get in the car, record the audio, and as soon as I'm doing this, the England match starts. The final of the Euros starts. I'm reliving the stress. It's crazy. Like, and keep in mind, this is still off of like a couple hours sleep over like 48 hours. Anyway, I finally get the video posted, stress off my shoulders, and I'm like, keep in mind, from the airport to get back home, it's a 3-hour drive. So it's not just like I can get home. So I watched the rest of the match while we're driving home. Don't worry, I wasn't watching while driving. Maddie was driving, so whew. And then England lost. Sad times, but I had so much going on at that point that I was like, I don't even know if I had the capacity to like feel sadness and sorrow. But anyway, Alex, find the people that all said Spain, that predicted them to win. Well done. You predicted it right. I was close, off by 1 goal. We salute you, everyone. You are right. We'll send you, I don't even know. I've still got all the mask stuff here from before I left. We'll send you something. Alex and I will discuss what we're going to give to all of the prize winners that predicted it. But yeah, I'm really sorry that this is rushed. I've actually got to get on a really important call at 2:30. Believe it or not, things don't end here. And I will love to tell you about this, you know, in the future, because this is really, really big. Just remember the call that I'm about to get on in this video. Because something big might come from it. Anyway, honestly, I love you guys so much. I feel so grateful and humbled by this week, because it really is at a point in my life which is just like I never, anticipated to be here and have such amazing people. Like, a lot of creators can have audiences that, are just tricky, but you guys are just so amazing all the time, apart from when you comment that I'm late. For those people that I know are going to be there. One last whipping. Everyone that says I'm late, you know what? Actually, you don't get a whipping. Today is my fault. It is my fault that I'm very late. Self-whipping for me, I think, is deserved. Ow! Ow! Okay, the first two kind of hurt, I'm not going to lie. Okay, I need to end this video. I love you guys. I'm so glad to be back, and I will see you, I don't know when, soon, I promise. Just keep a lookout for those videos that I post. I love you. Lost time! Woo!